So what I'm watching is the S&P 500, SPY, or the E-mini S&P 500 future. We are in currently uptrend rules. So what uptrend rules basically say is that we're longing at demand and taking profit at supply, not vice versa, which is short at supply and take profit in demand, because of the fact that we're making higher highs on a daily and we're also making higher lows on the daily. And every demand zone that we've been having in the past has been pretty much been respected and has been working out very well. As you guys can see where my cursor's at, this demand worked, we bounced up to the upside. This next demand worked, bounced up to the upside. So now we have two solid demand zones below, and we also have three solid supply levels above. So this is where it gets tricky, because you might have a bias because the medium term trend, so not the short term, but also not the long term, is that we are making lower highs. So we have a high here at 29.65 and a high here at 29.40 area. So technically on the shorter time frame, we're making lower highs, but on the longer term, the daily chart, we're making higher highs still and higher lows. So you have to be able to not have a bias, and you have to be able to play both sides. A lot of the times price comes down to the downside and you have traders trying to chase it short, when in reality they don't know that we're coming into a demand zone. And the same thing for the upside. We could be rallying to the upside and traders are chasing this to the long side, and they don't know we have supply above. So you have to be able to not have a bias, and you have to be able to play the zones properly, and you have to be able to flip constantly, change your opinion on where the stock is going to go based off of the zones systematically. That's why we chart both supply and demand, because anything could happen in the market. It's constantly throwing different rocks at you. It's constantly throwing different variables. It's an ever changing market. So at 1 minute, something might look good for the long side, and then the next minute it might look really bad for the long side. So you just have to be prepared to play both sides. In my opinion, if you play only one side and you're only biased to, let's say, the long side or the short side, you're going to lose, because emotionally you're attached to that stock, or the future in this case, and it's just not going to work out in the long run, because you're going to be chasing it to the long side or chasing it to the short side if you don't know we have supply or demand imbalances above or below. So I have two scenarios I have played out today. Like I said, I'm not biased. I just have both scenarios so I could easily switch my direction. So currently we're opening up in 4-hour demand. Now, this 4-hour demand, we tested it yesterday, and what happens with used levels is that they tend to get broken because more orders get filled at that imbalance. This 4-hour demand that we're currently trading in did not really take us above the pivot high, which was 29.65, hence we made a lower high. This 3-hour demand, though, below at 27.64 is a very strong level, because it took us from 27.64 all the way to 29.65, about a 200-point rally, and we took out the previous pivot high. So in my opinion, this 3-hour demand is stronger, but right now, currently, it looks like we're somewhat bouncing at this 4-hour demand. So if we get a rally out of this demand today, I'm expecting 4-hour demand move up to a larger time frame supply zone. We move from 4-hour demand to 4-hour supply, and this 4-hour supply is at 28.51 and a half. So rally at the open, not really interested in chasing it. I'd rather it come up to supply, pull back. So let me just illustrate this. I want to see it maybe pull up to supply, pull back. We'll get long at this pullback, and then maybe for a second leg higher. That's personally what I'm interested into the long side for scenario 1. Scenario 2, this demand at 27.64, the 3-hour, is a very, very strong level. I'm expecting this level to hold if we sell off at the open. Now, if we rally immediately at this 4-hour supply up here at the open from 4-hour demand, I want to pull back into this 1-hour supply to get long. And then if we bounce at this 1-hour supply, we're easily going to see 29.19, this 3-hour supply above, because of the fact that this is a strong level. This is the origin of a 75-point move to the downside. So from 29.38 to 27.80, which is about 170 points to the downside. So yeah, this 3-hour supply is a very strong level, and origin supply or demand imbalances tend to get filled in the immediate short-term process because of the fact that there are unfilled orders sitting at these levels. So it's very possible we could have a strong rally to the upside today and test this 3-hour supply. But like I said, let's not have a bias and let's see what plays out, and hopefully we'll get a good trade out of this today. So the market opened and we're pretty much selling off about 20 points so far to the downside. No signs of bounces in demand. A lot of traders see demand and they think it's automatically a buy signal, but we have no bullish confirmation yet. We have no buyers telling us that they're stepping in, and we have no bullish structure or anything saying that demand is going to hold. So it's very likely that if we do come below this level, we are going to test the 3-hour demand at 27.64 because, like I said, that is the origin location of a massive move to the upside. So this acts like a magnet, very strong level, and we're not really having a reaction out of this 4-hour demand that we're currently in. So a lot of traders see the market coming down and they hop on the bearish side, but you can't be bearish in demand because at any point the market could completely reverse to the upside. And especially if the market keeps coming down, it's very possible that you could scout for a couple points, but I'm not really interested in a trend type of day trade with this because we have strong demands stacking up. So let's see if price hits this 27.64 area, the 3-hour demand. I'll keep you guys updated to see what happens, but right now we're selling off pretty hard with no bounce. So we finally made a move into this 27.64 3-hour demand, but we're still not bouncing yet. I don't know why no demand is actually holding. I don't know why no buyers or any bidders are just stepping in. So it's very important for us to wait for confirmation. We could take a riskier type of trade because this zone is about 10 points from 27.64 to 27.55. This is about a 10-point risk for a potential of a 60-point return to the upside if the market does move into the nearest supply zone. So very tight risk for a high reward type of trade, but previous demand did not work. We're currently in the 3-hour demand, which is the strong level. I do expect us to hold this level, just there's no confirmation yet, and we have to wait for confirmation to enter the trades. I want to see structure. I want to see some type of demand forming inside of this demand. So let's wait and see what happens, and I'll keep you guys updated to see if we break below this level. I tried to start the recording before I entered, but it happened very fast. So now we're forming on a 5-minute chart. We're forming demand inside this 3-hour demand zone. So that gives me enough confirmation to get long, and I'm in 20 contracts. So this my risk now I lowered to the low of 27.60. I didn't make it to the low of the demand zone just because I'm in kind of 20 contracts, which isn't crazy size, but I want to keep my risk tight because I really do believe that this sell-off in the morning was just a trap for people to short into, providing liquidity for this demand to get filled and now rally to the upside. So stop below 27.60. I'm going to look to take profits at this 1-hour supply, which also aligns with pre-market high. It's a fresh level. So if we do get a rally to this 28.20 area, it's going to really pay big, tight risk, high reward. So this is really what I'm looking out for. So nice move up out of this 3-hour demand zone. Like I said, very small risk, and now we're rallying to the upside. We are starting to form somewhat of a lower high on a 5-minute, even on a 15-minute and a 30-minute. You can see it. So it's important for us to take out this high and then hold the high in order for us to continue climbing. But you have to respect that there's no other supply zones in this area besides really a supply in this 28.07 area. So if we get another fast move to the upside, I'm going to protect myself and possibly scale out at least half my position. You can never go wrong taking profits on the way up and then letting the remainder ride just to protect yourself and really stay in the trade longer. So a fast move up above high a day. I want us to hold high a day, and we're very close to this target now after a nice 32-point move to the upside. And exactly what I just said about taking profits when you have them. I kind of got greedy, broke above the high, and this is not a good trader habit to have. You have to take profits, like I said, when you have them. You can take profits, you protect yourself, you pay yourself on the way up, so you don't get a move down and lose potential profits because you were too greedy not selling when you had them. You could always sell half your position and let the remainder ride to the upside. And now we're somewhat pulling back, which I'm okay with because you need healthy pullbacks for the stock to continue higher, because pullbacks really serve as just price magnets to demand zones. So we formed a new demand, and as long as we hold this level, I'm comfortable, and I have a strong conviction that we're going to rally up to the 2820 and break above 2820. We're going to see 2851. So come below this level, I'm just going to get out of my trade. If stay above it and hold value above it, should rally to the upside. This is why, in my opinion, retail traders get shaken out too easily. They see a pullback like this, and if they don't understand the concept of demand zones, they don't realize that they're stopping out and selling to someone who's buying here to make another leg higher, which is what we're doing right now. So as long as we don't validate a double top, and as long as we break above this high, I have very, very strong conviction that we're going to see the supply zone, because maintaining a healthy uptrend, bounced out of a valid higher time frame demand, now moving into a higher time frame demand supply zone, created another demand zone on the way up, price pulled back, traders stop out and sell in this area, they stop out at this demand, and now we're possibly going to have another leg to the upside and somewhat bull flagging near the high, which is very bullish, and we held the open of the day as well. So I'm pretty confident that this stock is going to rally to the upside. It's still early in the day. It's the afternoon, so we might chop around near the highs, but I'm staying in this. And now my stop, I adjusted it. I raised it to this 27.90 area if we start moving down again. Okay, I just sold. We had a nice rally into 1 hour supply. This was a great trade. Execution wise, not even looking at the profits, execution wise, this was a perfect trade on my end. Stuck to the plan. I got long at demand. I knew we were going to have a nice rally because this 3 hour demand was a very strong level. So a couple things. We rallied out of this demand zone, and then we came up. I didn't take profits, which I probably should have in hindsight, but we then formed a new demand zone. And when I see new demand zones form on rallies, that tells me I have extra conviction to the long side. The stock is very strong and there's demand present. We broke above the high, and then here's where a lot of traders get shaken out, in this area right here. This, I stayed according to my plan. I kind of was getting a little worried, but we pulled back into this demand, and then boom, traders got shaken out for another leg higher. Now we're at 1 hour supply, somewhat rejecting, but I'm happy with my profits. I mean, I'm not going to complain about $4,300 in a matter of 3 hours, strictly off this demand zone. This level, if we do break above this level, which I'm going to kind of be not upset about, but this level at 28.25, if we break above, easily we'll see 28.51. So I might have left a lot of meat on the bone, but you cannot be greedy. And I'm very happy with the execution of this trade, and I'm very happy with the profits, strictly from this supply and demand. All naked price action. It's, if you understand imbalances and you understand how the market actually works, it's very simple. The market moves from imbalances to imbalances. You know, if you stick to your plan, we have an imbalance here, we have the next imbalance up here. You stick to the plan, and the market will move from imbalance to imbalance. Everything in between, you know, everything in the white space, everything that's not in an imbalance or everything that is balanced is just noise. And if you're not in before the noise, then you shouldn't be trading at all. So like I said, I got the conviction once we pulled back into this demand, got the conviction when we formed demand inside demand, and a nice rally up to 1 hour supply according to plan.